I think we basically attracted a real spread of people, from people who just really dig the art and thought it was awesome, and were really sort of into that kind of meme looking style of Dogcoin and stuff like that, and then to the people who were there for the, the sort of slightly more galaxy brain end of things, of the MetaDAO, and how that could all work and stuff. And even to the point that we launched a vote on the best meme shortlist that we put in there, and over 1,000 votes were cast. And this is for loads of people, would be their very first engagement with quadratic voting, and certainly the app itself, influence.vote, and it was just so like encouraging to see that sort of uptake immediately. So yeah, I'm sort of, like, quietly, without wanting to give anything the kiss of death, I'm quietly like super proud of how it's all ended up, and how well all the finance.vote gang have worked together, putting it all, standing it all up, and getting to where we've got to.
Well, and in my business mind, I'm thinking this is not only a really powerful case study, but a quick manual can be put together to say, look, this is what we did, and 10,000 members later in whatever space of time. It is definitely possible. Here is a manual. Sell it. It's part of the package of opening a DAO with us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great shout. And like the Discord side of things, it's weird to sort of. I've always kind of seen the Discord as a secondary kind of aspect to the the process of setting up a DAO. But actually, the more we've been involved in this, the more you realise how integral. Until something comes along which does everything Discord does, but better, obviously, you realise how integral Discord is to the organisation of people, and there's nothing quite like it around at the moment. So yeah, I think you're right. A sort of playbook on here's what we did, you can do it too, is a great shout.
I think these are like the thing you're talking about in terms of like what's the word, like creating a process or whatever is the word. I suppose we're going to be doing that across the board and everything we're doing, right? Like you've got the data DAO there, you've got what you built over Shibaku. These are all part of I suppose what we're building finance.vote. I don't know what you think, Nick.
In terms of process?
Yeah, just in terms of like, we're doing it first so we can show other people how to do it after us.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see DAOs being slightly different to governance in traditional organizations is that normally processes are very, very localized and aren't shared. So the kind of organizations build these ways of doing things, whereas in DAOs, they will be abstracted across DAOs. So if one DAO finds something that works, other DAOs will copy it because it's open source. So the openness of these organizations is going to change things quite a bit. And you almost design with that in mind. So we're trying to sort of keep saying it, but we're not just, cracking this mint, we're cracking every mint. So we're aiming for having these processes that that are abstractable across other DAOs or other mints or other contexts, that act as kind of like, I think of as like governance primitives, building blocks that can be used elsewhere. So definitely, I think we want to be having that in mind when we're building this stuff. It's not just for us, it's for others too.
Have you, has FBT looked into the I guess this predecessor of Discord in general?
Predecessor of Discord? Do you mean, like, is Discord going to be a long-term piece of this?
No. Like designing the tool that is a more stable Discord.
So, I looked into it. I think Discord is like totally horrible because you don't own it, and they can rob you anytime. So I take it as like right now everyone is on Discord, but I think about it as we prototyping this.
So maybe
something else.
Sorry. So then maybe instead of building processes that are, I mean, like you can make a manual simple step of to give to your mini DAO saying, this is what we've found works for Discords, but is the more resource to not build into Discord but build out of it, because it looks like that's going to be a big need in the future. A decentralized place that lets everyone socialize with their tribe.
I think Discord is great because it's where people are, and where people are is where you can prototype things. Because if you just start with the platform and try to figure out how people behave, then I don't think it's going to work. And on one hand, I have this hate and love relationship with Discord. This is where the crowds are. So this is why it's great to build these processes and to understand that. Or like roles and channels and whatever, but I can imagine that these things can be copied and implemented, for instance, with Matrix, or something maybe a bit more simple, but something with end-to-end.
Yeah, I think this on the sort of Discord thing. It's like, are you truly autonomous if you're reliant on a third-party service to exist? And the answer to that is
And
no.
they're checking everything. Like if you enable community server, they're tracking all your messages. Like, and if they think something is not right, they just cancel you. Right? So
Yeah, I don't know to what degree that it's entirely possible that Discord could get pressured from regulatory bodies and other stuff. You know, and someone could say, "Look, DAOs are bad. Shut it down." And yeah, I absolutely agree. We need this is a temporary home, I guess. But replacing this stack, including you know, all the synchronous comms stuff, screen sharing, multi-threaded chats, it's a big bloody job. You know, Discord have been building this for well over a decade.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
No, so what I do see as the next step as is to take our decision making out of Discord. So influence is, it's where we signal our intentions, but in the new year we'll be expanding that to build in a proposal function. So proposal.vote is going to be a module in that where people can formulate their ideas around where things want to go. There's a signaling dimension to that. Now that core decision making element can exist without Discord. And so, yeah, I can see us just off ramping the mission critical stuff first, and the mission critical stuff for DAOs is the decision making. So I think we'll go there first, and if all else fails, you can fall back to Telegram again if necessary. You just lose the multi-threaded nature of it. But for now, like Senyi said, this is where the people are. This is the we've been progressive enough by not playing the game like everyone else. So I think for the moment, I think it's a fairly safe space that we can interact within. If anything, they're trying to move into it more. The furries cancelled them for trying to do it, but they were talking about integrated Ethereum not long ago. So it's proving to be it's putting them in a position where they can be part of the Web3 game. So I think we're fairly safe in here for now, but we don't want to be. We're not autonomous until we leave, basically.
I wanted to add also that actually I think software is not a problem. Like building software is less of a problem than building like a proper practice and like a journey. So it's great to have a lot of people, and then we can figure out these processes and see what open source and more ethical and software is available, what we can use or what we can build.
Like I think for us for a while there was that we had lots of different platforms we were communicating on, right? So we had Discord, we had a bit of Slack, a bit of Signal, a bit of Telegram. So you've got all this app switching that you're doing, and each app works completely differently. And the thing about running off and creating your own Discord or whatever it is you want to call that thing, that's going to be what happens again, right? People have to switch from one thing to another. And the beauty of being here is that you can just quite quickly move from tribe to tribe. there's no real cognitive overhead in that. Each tribe roughly works the same, so there's no cognitive effort in that. And you can just kind of, once you figure Discord out, it's relatively straightforward. It's that initial bit of Discord which is just like, whoa. And that's not ideal. And I'm with Nick on this. Like, mission critical stuff, get it off, and then bit by bit we can figure out what we do in terms of becoming truly autonomous. But I'd say it's medium to low priority right now. There's other things which are medium to high priority, and it's just a case of tackling those things at the right time, I suppose. I mean, what do you mentioned a predecessor NFTA? What did you mean? Did you mean a predecessor like before Discord, or do you mean something after? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I think she must have gone.
Okay, all good. No worries. In terms of actually, as we're here, so the reading piece for next week we're going to do is a piece by Rafa again. Nick, he's got a really interesting piece about how to DAO 301.
I'll let him know that. He'll be happy about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you want to invite him in here, or do you want to do Twitter Spaces with him?
Yeah, Twitter Spaces is a good shout.
Yeah,
he does that quite a lot. I'll drop him a message.
Nice one. Yeah, perfect. That'd be cool. Okay, so have a look at that. The read will be in the reading group. Everyone to take a look at. Actually, do you know what? I had an idea for another sort of group. Maybe this is more async, and maybe we meet up less frequently. I don't know, but I do quite like the idea of a book group.
I think we can do. I was thinking same thing actually. It's I think I used to read a lot of books, and I don't anymore. I think part of it's due to I've certainly over the last 10 years tangibly seen my attention span eroded by the internet, and I taught a lot of students who were, so my last batch of students, like born in 2001 or something, and they had no attention span. Like the idea of reading a book was utterly insane. And it's a commitment, and you need to carve out time for it. And I like it. I think it's almost part of our sort of well-being package of being able to say, yeah, let's attempt to find the time to give yourself time to read and chill out. So yeah, I'm up for that idea. I don't think it needs a new group. We can run multiple reads at once, right?
Yeah, true. We just section the end of a part of the reading group off.
But I like the intention of. I think we've got to get to the point. I've noticed there's a thing in crypto, and it's very much happened to me for years, is that it's so much happening that it can really run you into the ground hard. And I think one of the things that we should set as a goal, as a space, is that we actually still enjoy life. We're running at this thing to try and be the leader of the pack and get access to the space that we want as quickly as possible, but still I think I'd like to approach in the new year with a kind of, I'm certainly going to try and do this personally, is to carve out a bit more time for things like exercise and self-care and like reading, chilling out, and that was kind of the intention of the focus day that was in there. It's almost like it's not quite panned out yet, but that day turning into a kind of like, just chill out and read a book for the day, read some research. So I think that's I like the idea of getting yourself into that space, but also promoting the idea that you look after yourself a bit, because the crypto space ages you.
One of the things I've learned with these younger generations is that an alternative is to read with the author. I've translated 5 or 6 books from my teacher and what I work with, and I tend to sit down with my students for an hour and say, hey, let's just read a couple of pages together, discuss these concepts, discuss these ideas on here, maybe take a chapter.
Yeah, structured reading thing. I've used the similar practices in the past. Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, start suggesting books and stuff. We could even, I have thought in the past it'd be nice to like use some DAO funds potentially to send people books at some point. But yeah, I think I like the idea. We should do it.
I mean,
can we make a market out of it so that it adds a little bit more fun? I don't know, with voting or trading.
We could do. What elaborate on the idea a little bit? What do you mean?
It's a very vague idea. I don't know. Let's say, for example, I propose a book, and if a funny random username finds it interesting or not, could be a market.
Yeah, we do like a prediction market on what books people read.
Yeah, just for fun and motivation and.
Yeah. Yeah, you can add quiz dynamics to it or something. So, like, I think there's like proof that you've read it as a kind of thing that's in there. We could have a rating thing. So if we read X amount of books or pieces, what will people vote is the best?
Yeah, something like that. It's starting to develop.
Yeah, I mean, we can use our tools to do that. I think what we could quite quickly say, all right, we're going to commit to reading a book, however long it takes us, 2-3 months or whatever, but let's have a vote on which one it is. And people can propose which books they think we should read, and then everyone agrees that they're going to read whatever the top vote is.
Mini library DAO.
Library DAO. I like it. I mean, library DAO would be you can rent books from it, maybe. I mean,
yeah.
There's one of these things. So, like ebooks, for example, there's a model in universities where there's ebook platforms where you have so you buy copies that move around people. So it's exactly the same principle as a library book. You know, there's 5 books and people can rent them out and they have them for X amount long. They have to give them back at the same time. And there is
this can be tokenized.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking. I was actually initially thinking. I wonder if we can convince any of these people. I was talking to one of them actually not long ago to accept crypto. So a DAO can get all the DAO would need is a deal where we say, okay, we want all the economics books, and we get 10 copies of them each, and then the DAO can rent them out, and it's like a digital library. We just need to be able to pay them with crypto. Possible.
This could create a market on the demand and supply of the book.
Yeah. Yeah, you could actually. Yeah, you've got a supply and demand thing there, haven't you?
And also for the focus day, I can propose that we have a very simple questionnaire about our quality of life and fill it every week so we can monitor how our quality of life is going, just for our own internal feedback.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. One of the use cases of influence that I've thought in the past, or the quadratic voting nature, is that you could almost replace each of the voting things with emojis. With, essentially emojis represent
like a Likert scale with visual scale.
Yeah, so you've got the happy emoji, you've got the sad emoji, you've got the crying emoji, got the scared emoji, blah blah blah, and you can be all of these things or whatever. And doing a vote, you would actually get super interesting data around people's emotional state. You could try that.
I think emojis can be used as real.
Oh, you glitched out then, NFT.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's because I'm attached to my.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out a lot.
Now we're all wondering what she's attached to.
Oh, definitely unicorns. I leave those everywhere I go.
There is a unicorn Shibaku. I'm sure you've seen NFTA.
I have. I might go after that one. I'm curious about them. I can't wait to see them all. The graphics are amazing. As an artist, that whole amazing. I did have an idea for the focus day, sort of a challenge that we could do for it when we start writing what to add to that list.
Go for it. What is it?
I was thinking it's called 1 minute meditation, and I do it sometimes just randomly. Like I'll post a video of my cat, and it's a minute long, and you don't speak, and you record for a minute, and that's the challenge. 1 minute of meditation.
Yeah, nice. I've been thinking we should be doing some more async stuff because Naved leads these kind of meditation episodes twice a week, and yeah, unfortunately, I never make all of them. But one of I just keep thinking I need to let Naved guide us more, or certainly me. I think just need to allow it to happen. And I think one of the things we could do is more async stuff like that. Exactly that kind of idea. Set ourselves little tasks to do, and we can signal in the Discord when we've done them or something. Yeah, I mean potentially the sort of curriculum idea for the DAO leadership thing could get us into that. We'll have homework to do. So right. Yeah, we can actually have structured writing tasks, and the work that we can do have a productive outcome in the DAO. So if we set an assessment of write an introduction to finance.vote, we could end up with 10 of them or 50.
That's a brilliant idea. I really crave, with all these cool calls, I really crave for sitting and doing something. I think if more people will do this, sitting down and writing one paragraph of what a mini DAO is.
Yeah.
And then we can go through it and see what we actually think about it and create really cool content out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So there's one of the key educational paradigms is so we're still largely, most of the world is stuck in the idea that assessment is like a measure of your intelligence. So the job of an assessment is to measure how clever you are in a subject. But actually they have very limited utility then as a learning event in itself. There's like a cramming for an exam is actually a pretty ineffective way of learning, because you just forget it all as soon as you've done it. You've probably experienced this if you've ever done that.
Cool.
But if an assessment is itself a learning experience, right? So we call it assessment for learning instead of assessment of learning. So our assessments can be, doing it will help you learn it, rather than we're just measuring. So doing our quiz next week would be quite a measurement type thing. But we can build little assessments where if we all want to do this course, then we all end up producing productive stuff. And it could get to design some token economics for a .vote DApp or whatever. It can get quite elaborate. I'm also thinking the dissertation type block So normally you've got like how a typical course is structured is like 2/3 structured learning, 1/3 independent learning, where you'll go and do a piece of work on your own with supervisory support. And that could be build your own DAO, or so you almost like as the assessment of the final one, you're going to spin up a DAO or be a leader in our DAO. And so the actual that independent learning bit can also be just structured work as well. It's a good way to structure the work that the DAO needs potentially. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Arguably, this is part of the gamification we've been talking about with Raga.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, curriculum is a gamification process, really. I conceptualize it as jumping over hurdles that are set by. So when you go and do a course at a university, each year gets a step higher, if you like. It's like let's say there's 4 courses in the first year, 4 in the second, and then 2 in a dissertation in the final one. They're like hurdles that you're jumping over that get a little bit higher on each jump. And there's grades are a gamification, and you get feedback. It's very. I think there's going to be. I've thought for many years that the gamification education crossover is going to be huge. So people have been researching it for decades. It's just there's not been too many great examples of it yet.
It just strikes me that education is not keen to change. The model's stayed the same for 200 years.
This is why I left.
Yeah.
This is why I'd had enough of it. It's for a range of reasons that it's just got a high degree of inertia. It doesn't change very quickly. Mainly part of it's because they have to comply to sector level standards. There's the rules of the game are set by nation states, so you have to play by specific rules. And there's all these quality assurance standards, and increasingly over the last 10 years or so, there's this they call it the metrification of education, where everything is tracked, like what your students' progress over time is, what your attainment gaps are. Attainment gaps being which of these demographics are performing better than others. So if your black students are underperforming against your white students, that's the big one at the moment. There's you have to be doing stuff within your institution to close those gaps. Then there's various other metrics like student satisfaction and things like that. That just turns a lot of the educational experience into data collection, data harvesting stuff. And yeah, it's just all of that machinery slows down innovation.
So do you remember I was talking to you about the idea I had, I'm going to call it EduDAO or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And because I think I look at high level education and it's well, what are the incentives? And it's tenure, professorship, which is essentially the same thing, research grant, and then if you scale down there, it's kind of well, are you hitting your KPIs? How many kids are in this grade doing all these things?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I quite like the idea of, I think we spoke about this briefly, of you have a DAO that has a grant. Anybody, essentially, academics can apply and it's pseudonymous. Basically, everybody gets a grant, essentially. And then you basically produce papers that you then peer review anonymously.
Yeah.
And within that, you don't have this whole the tenure or professorship or anything like that. It's just you basically you're a peer review machine. That's what you do, and you get paid well to do this. But there isn't this. Maybe I'm not sure if this is why it would work or not work, but there isn't this. My name is in this many journals, because that's not the outcome. The outcome is to solve big problems. And I was thinking, like, okay, so you basically run it like a problem that affects 1 in 4 people on the planet, and you all sort of dedicate yourselves towards either coming up with theses for that, disproving theses for that, or peer reviewing the theses on that, and just really sort of just like drilling at these things.
Yeah, you're actually talking about something that the reason why I got interested in quadratic voting was to solve the problem of peer review, which is a problem. So basically, the game of academia, it's a pretty broken game. The publishers rule everything. So these actual centralized corporations that profit off the centralization of knowledge. And all of the esteem is located in these very high impact journals. And you end up trying to write papers that want what the journals want, not what reality is, or what. So there's like these weird perverse incentives. So
sorry, Dr. Nick, to interrupt you. This is why modern medicine fails today. All the research is directed on subjects examined by Nature and other journals since the last 20 years. So any new research that would really help with medicine is not accepted in the academic journals.
Yeah, this is exactly the problem I'm talking about. It's something that I don't know if you've ever listened to Eric Weinstein much, but he talks about it as the gated institutional narrative, which kind of aligns with what I see as well, which is there are things that fall within what is accepted knowledge, and you kind of have to stay in that track. If you try and suggest something that's outside of what, and there's almost like a sunk cost fallacy in journals where they're like, the journalists supported all this knowledge up to this point. If you propose a piece of knowledge that then overwrites that stuff, then they don't want it, right? Because it basically says these 10 journals were wrong. So the route out of it, in my view, was decentralized peer review, where now that becomes a problem of who does the peer review. So you need a reputation system to say not everyone's opinion is the same. You necessarily need domain knowledge to be able to peer review something. And that's what the peer review process is. You get given 3 peers from that discipline. So if you write something in educational psychology, your paper, if accepted, which is extremely unlikely at the best of times, you got like a 5% acceptance rate to even get to the peer review stage. And in order to get to the peer review stage, you have to write your paper that references all the journals, that you have to basically read every paper that's in that journal and make sure you name check all the big hitters in that group. And if you do all that, you get...
Wikipedia is a pseudonymous peer review, right? In a way.
Yeah, it is. Wikipedia is the closest to it. That's ended up with a very centralized peer review set that can get a little bit toxic as well.
It is. Like I spoke to a dude who invented Wiki, and he said it went completely toxic and invented a federated version of a Wiki.
Yeah, all of Wikipedia has about 30,000 people who act as the peer reviewers of all this stuff.
And there were attacks in like small languages of some obnoxious people writing obnoxious shit and making it a reality, which is kind of weird.
So
thing.
What you need is a system that allows you to decontextualize depersonalize who's doing. It gets toxic when it's like, who's your reviewer? And you kind of know who the reviewer is. This happened to me. I published several papers in physics when I was doing experimental physics. And our group had discovered a finding that basically said that this other group was wrong. And there was such a specialized field that we knew our paper was going to go to that group for review. So they, of course, said, don't accept this paper because it undermined their work. And it's a real problem, right? So you need a broader peer review set than just 3 people who are probably in your domain anyway. You can often guess who the peer reviewers are.
May I make a suggestion? Sorry. It seems like almost every call we have, there's 3 really good ideas at DAOs that could exist. Do we have a list of these? Because it will be awesome to have a list of amazing projects that somebody in the community could say, wow, this is for me.
Yes. I mean, so that was kind of our principle of the Imagine DAOs week, which was that last week?
Yep.
It was, yeah. Yeah, so we're going to open up a sort of way of collecting these. So we've got like, exactly on that point. It's like, I want people to be, once you get what's going on here, you can start to imagine within that framework. And yeah, I think we need a place, or a sort of repository of collecting all these things and incentivize people to come up with cool ideas and then eventually just do them.
So I had to double check the recording. It's been really dodgy this week. So the idea we had was that basically anyone can submit an idea for a DAO. We've had a few come through already. We're going to put a call out to the community. Anyone can put their idea in. We're just figuring out the easiest way to collect that information and store it properly, which should be pretty simple, but we're just going to get that. That'll be ready to go today. And you guys can then submit your ideas, and the winner would receive, I think we said $1,000 in FET, because we'll do a vote on it, and we'd potentially help them spin it up as well.
Yeah, so the 1,000 is not to set it up, it's just a prize to like spend on ice cream and stuff, or keep forever.
Yes.
The idea is that it's a good idea, we can also support it, right? And in many ways. Just something I wanted to add, like right now, it seems like the most optimal way is to collect this thing centralizedly. But ultimately, I think we could have a wiki that everyone can edit, maybe, and add the, like for instance, design patterns and the DAO ideas as well. But yeah, that's a name, I guess.
I don't know if it's lame. It's just a case of, what's the most friction-free way of doing it?
No, I didn't say lame. I said something else. Sorry, today I was just so grumpy about gamification that you just hear lame. Me saying lame. I said that could be the aim.
Oh, the aim. Sorry.
The aim, not lame. It's not like, oh, Xenia's coming and saying this is lame and this is shit and this is not open source. Fuck that. No, I meant it is a good way to collect it now. It's just a quick way to collect it. But
Xenia, have you had your shot of vodka yet today?
Yeah.
She did propose $1,000 on ice cream for everyone, so I love that.
Yeah, can't be
And
that
wasn't
grumpy.
me.
$1,000 of ice cream.
Yeah, that wasn't me who proposed that, I think.
We put a bounty on it. I think what I thought might be nice is when we sort of like go and chill out for a couple of weeks, spend time with our families and stuff. People have got this little thing hanging in the back of the mind, which is, what DAO do I want to do? And then we just, basically people can chill out for a couple of weeks, think about it, write a couple of paragraphs on it and submit it when we get back. And that's the kind of where we pick things up next year. And you might win $1,000 in FET from it as well.
Yeah, I think it's great because it's made me really think about DAOs, what I want to do, what I want to build.
Yeah. So yeah, anyone who's got an idea, this will be the place to do it. And then yeah, I think we should be able to. I'm thinking I'm getting like so many requests for DAOs now. It's like it's a bit overwhelming. All of a sudden, everyone wants a DAO. So one of our things we're going to have to do is figure out a way of prioritizing what we support. You know, our approach is that we're not a kind of like DAO in 2 minutes, pop up a DAO thing. It's the same as like an ERC20 contract, right? Just because you can mint a token doesn't mean it's going to work. So I think we can have an approach of like actually nurturing these DAOs so they're set up properly and have the best possible chance of surviving out in the wild.
Yeah, I think there will be projects that will become like a McDonald's of DAO, like DAO to go. But I don't think we want to be that, because like it's more fun to have something more sophisticated and bespoke, I would.
Yeah, I think bespoke is the sort of way. And you know, over time we'll be able to up our bandwidth, but we will have a bandwidth of projects that we can support through launch. That will expand the more people we get helping us. But there's necessarily going to have to be a degree of prioritization and stuff. So this idea of appraising our own DAO ideas is training us to be able to curate DAO ideas so we can support other projects with them. So it's like an internal competency thing. But yeah, no, I really like the idea. So yeah, that'll be something we can perhaps talk. When are you planning to set that competition up, Matt? Yeah, I think we can set the rules of the game out, whatever the collection method is for getting people's ideas, and then just let people work on it for a couple of weeks, and then we can have the vote once we've collected them when we get back. Absolutely. I'm going to have to run off now and get involved in Shibaku antics, so I'm going to run off, guys. But yeah, have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you hanging around with Shibaku. Hopefully everything goes well there.
What's happening about the mint later today?
Let's find out. I know they're beavering away at it at the moment. The deployment process of all these things is incredibly like challenging. There's lots of moving parts behind the scenes, so I'm going to find out. I'll keep an eye on the test mint channel. I'll go and have a word with Yuvi and see if we can get an update on it. But yeah, we should be able to play with it pretty soon, I should imagine. Cool. Cool. All right, guys.
Thanks,
See you
folks.
later on.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you.
Matt, do you have a minute? Are you familiar with the concept of a product launch formula? There's this guy in the US called Jeff Walker, and he basically created a process for gaining the maximum hype for sales. And he has a sort of a stage process where he does like almost like a save the date. Then he has like a 2 or 3 like communications to build the hype, and then the sale itself. And I was, just as you were mentioning about the votes and about creating hype for all these ideas, I thought maybe applying this process into it could be really intelligent.
What was his name again?
Jeff Walker. Product launch formula.
Okay, because I'm recording, I can't really mess around my computer too much. Would you mind just dropping his name into the Reach channel?
Yeah, no worries. I'll plonk his book in there.
Yes.
But he basically has videos that he runs through the basic of the process, and maybe I'll plonk that together.
Cool, awesome. That'd be great. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that. I really appreciate that. And I saw you. Good. I'm glad you noticed the process thing channel. So what I want to do, I'm thinking maybe a good place to begin is with like some I mean, I'm probably sure that Raga will have a different perspective on this, and I'll probably go with his perspective. But I'm thinking it might be interesting to do like user interviews of people, to gain like an idea of what people are coming into the server, and learn more about the different types of users, and we can build, sort of a funnel, right? Funnel. Yeah, a funnel, like taking you through on the journey into
If
FBT.
anybody can hear me, I've just spent most of this call struggling trying to get my microphone together.
Can hear you now, mate.
Can hear you.
Can hear you.
You can now. I've just figured out the push to talk. There's a couple of times I've tried to step in actually and introduce myself. Hi, by the way, I'm Mark. Please, Dirty Hertz is an old gaming name and quite annoying, I suppose. How are you all doing?
Good, Mark. My name's Matt. You've got Fabs here, and you've got the Dutch Ali G is actually Robin.
Oh, how's it going? You guys have some great ideas. I'm really impressed by your project. I've got to be honest. Really impressed. And you've got just some fantastic ideas brewing there, and it's just you're very welcoming, which is great. And I can see this company really sort of going somewhere because of that. As I'm sure you're fully aware, new people to the crypto space, you can be incredibly overwhelmed with information that seems like you kind of need to be a mad genius to pull off, but you actually don't, and just who was it? One of you guys mentioned a book club.
That was me.
That was you. Yeah, I thought it was. What a great way to introduce people to the DAO. So if you have things that you need done within the company, and at the same time you're offering incentives, say paid roles, paid positions within the company to achieve your goals by people reading books, enjoying the books, so they're kind of qualifying themselves and building themselves up. The whole thing could be self-generating.
That's what we do. That's literally what we're doing.
Fantastic. Yeah. Oh right, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad.
So let me just. It's a biggie, but let me give you a quick primer, right?
Please do. Please do. I'm really interested in getting involved in everything you do. I've got some ideas at the stage I feel will be advantageous for everyone.
So I think there's so a few things. So I think first up, there's going to be an event on Monday at 2 p.m. If we get a sign up, if we get 5 sign-ups, we'll run it, which is basically it's called previously finance.vote, and that is where we answer lots of questions for anyone who's new to the server or crypto or DAOs or whatever. And it's kind of a bit organic because everybody comes to it is at a slightly different level. So it's not too robotic. It's just quite like an open conversation, and we'll answer the questions for you. We also do a strategy call on a Monday morning at 11 a.m. UTC, same as GMT, if I assume you're in the UK with your accent.
UTC, yeah.
Cool. And that's for citizens. So there is a citizens chat, and that's basically, this is what we're kind of based around, right? So what we have is a DAO that is essentially an NFT gated DAO. Do you know much about NFTs?
Well, it's been a little bit new, but not. It's something I kind of understand relatively quickly and seem to baffle my friends relatively quickly. And I've definitely realised I've lived in the wrong space for a very long time.
Haven't we all, mate?
Much at home.
Yeah.
And I suppose we've all got our own issues. But I had a few things that sort of dramatically changed my life and my capabilities, and I've ended up behind a computer a lot more. And so I've kind of had to look into things like crypto and stuff. And Shibaku is what caught my attention. Just
great.
I've learned seeing it makes a lot more sense to get in with companies as they're developing and looking at what potentially is going to be a great project, as opposed to sort of joining a year later when something's listed on an exchange, and it's a great opportunity to actually start looking into things as a career, so you're learning off the right people, and that's what I've done. And through a YouTube channel, I found Shibaku, which is intriguing all over because it's so kind of unique compared to other NFT projects, which are fizzling. Just to be honest, there's been this massive sort of boom, and you could see unless people start recognizing the potential within the space, you can see that it's kind of going to hit a plateau and stagnate. But creating sort of 3D animated art and bringing that aspect into things and using Shabako as a key in a raffle, which I'm assuming is reaping off of the sort of pulse idea within the DAO. I think that's fantastic, and you're creating this strong community, especially with tribes and the idea of being able to use public funds for different community projects under a sort of voting system. I think that's excellent, and people want to change the world. This is people said there are so many people that just sit indoors. There are so many people that spend money pointlessly for instant gratification when the reality of the situation is fulfillment will only come from rewarding the community, creating the hive again. And we've had this over, I'd say, consistently over the past 100 years. We've had this sort of wealth extraction from the masses, and it's kind of time that it redistributed itself again. And I think crypto and NFT projects and the metaverse kind of thing, it is the key to financial freedom for a large number of ordinary people, you know. And you
Totally
guys
agree.
are there doing it. Yeah.
Let me give you, okay, so I'm glad that you've got the Shibaku thing in mind, because that's important. And so Shibaku is one of our projects. So it's incubated by this DAO, by finance.vote. And it's our first DAO that we're incubating. And the reason we're doing that is because it's essentially going to be a demonstration of our technology. And it's a demonstration of our capacity to build and launch DAOs, support communities, do the whole thing. And we're doing that essentially, if you from a technology perspective, we're doing it off of, at the moment, it's what's going to be 7 main apps, and they do different things. So one of them is like a liquidity mining app, which allows you to, do self liquidity as an app through staking mechanisms, and something called Harberger taxes. I'm not gonna blow your mind with that right now, but that will blow your mind when you get to that point and you're ready to learn about that. Markets.vote.
That's why I'm here, man.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to take on, and it's bit by bit. It's bit by bit.
It's lovely, actually. I've got to be honest. It is lovely, and you have a great way of explaining things. Please carry on.
Well, Nick's really the Jedi. I'm just like a Padawan. Markets.
The force is strong within you.
Yeah. I've been listening to for Nick long enough. Markets.vote is our predictions market. So that allows you to do different things with your community. In terms of doing collective intelligence type things. In terms of understanding where some signaling might be going on as well, but really markets.vote is a prediction market is the main thing. And
I suspected as much, actually. I noticed the rewarding thing for people that are kind of getting their predictions a lot better is obviously based on a sideline investment, but that's fantastic because it's introducing the ordinary person into the idea slowly and in a fun manner,
right?
And eventually it will leave people curious and wanting to know more, and it's wonderful.
Alongside that, we have markets.vote is on chain, right? And then we have another app called influence.vote, which is off chain. They're very similar, but the difference being is that influence.vote is about voting on proposals. So rather than markets.vote, which is a prediction market, this is what's a signaling tool. So it allows you to, as a group, to reach consensus. The two things that they both have in common is that they both use something called quadratic voting. Now, quadratic voting basically is it's a weighted voting system, so not binary like you're used to, like a yes, no. Here's a range of answers, and you have 100 points of voting power to distribute across these choices. And then once you've distributed your points...
You're closing so many gaps here.
Oh, cool, good. And once you've distributed those points, you can then do something which is called semantic ballot voting, which is essentially where you explain why you think this. So it doesn't have to be a big explanation. It could be one word, it could be one sentence. But there's a reasoning behind it as well. So you're not just getting the weighted volume of a vote. You're getting a reason why people are voting the way they're voting, and what that does is two things. It brings nuance to the vote. So unlike binary votes, which is just like a yes no tyranny of the masses type thing, you've got a vote which is more segmented so you can actually really understand the nuance of people. So it might be not just quite simply majority rules. It could be very much split up across, say, 4 or 5 different things, and these are the reasons why they're split across that. So, like I say, it's a signaling tool, so you can understand the direction and the thinking of the people involved in the vote, and then you can also really get like nuance in language, right? Actual language, which is easier then to analyze. And it's and this is all done behind an NFT. So if you buy a citizen's ID, you can then vote. So what that stops is the ability to attack a vote. So, for example, if you don't have any sort of gating mechanism, you could vote as many times as you want.
Yeah, it can be manipulated.
Yeah, it's called a symbol attack. I won't go into that with too much detail right now, because again, that's a whole nother. There's so many rabbit holes here. There's so many rabbit holes. But that's basically your ability to do that. So that's what those two offer. And then you've got bank.vote, which is our token vesting mechanism, which basically means we could airdrop tomorrow up to 1 billion people. We could do the whole planet if we wanted to, but we could airdrop 1 billion people tomorrow tokens. And we do that through a special technology called Merkle vesting tree. And that is like it's a really technical cryptographic thing.
Bleeding edge stuff. Yeah.
It's very bleeding edge, yeah. And with that, what that means is not only do we airdrop people tokens, they can choose how they want to withdraw their tokens. So they could either go, do you know what, I want all my tokens tomorrow and I'm willing to take a hit. I'm willing to take only 10% of my tokens, or I'm willing to vest my tokens for 2 years and I'll take them out in 2 years' time and I'll take 100% of my tokens. So what that means is, like when people do you remember, so ENS recently, Ethereum Name Service, or Uniswap back in the day, they did airdrops, right? Like Uniswap did the first ever airdrop. And
a few people made a killing out of that, didn't they?
Yeah, I did well, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, nice. I found out about ENS the day before it was launched on Binance, and I was like, oh, shit.
Always the way. Always the way. And but what happens when you do an airdrop?
And then it drops in price.
Correct, because everybody sells.
Everyone's sold off, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still going to heavily increase in value. Have a look at it. It's a naming service for a wallet. It's inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my ENS wallet. I think it's great technology, great service, and But what our bank.vote app does is it allows you to not have that immediate sell pressure. Because if people want to sell immediately, no problem, but that means you're only going to receive, say, 5% of your total value of the votes you've got. Sorry, the tokens you've got. But if you're willing to hold on to them, kind
of incentivized to leave your stake there.
Right. Yeah. But you can withdraw it if you want it.
Yeah, sure.
But if you're, if you say, actually, do you know what, I want mine some in 3 months, then some in 6 months, then some in 9 months, then, okay, cool, I'm only going to get 75%, but at least I know over the next 3 quarters, I'm going to have this much money coming into my pocket each quarter. So
and really, that's what a lot of people want. They just want a bit of security. Yeah. And I've run into it. I'm finding crypto's a really good way of revealing how many types of people are out there that you wouldn't even typically recognize, and how people are cautious with their money, and some people are just throw it all on the line. There are day traders, and there are people that will look at something on a sort of annually basis or weekly basis or monthly basis or whatever, and a lot of people just kind of want to use a bit of their money, chuck it in, forget about it, and come back knowing it's more money, and having the anxiety of wondering whether they're going to lose it or not creates a little sort of FUD, and people are accidentally sell when they didn't mean to, and stuff like that. But if you're just straight up saying to someone like, hey, you're going to make this much money, leave it in there, don't worry about the drops, don't worry about this, you don't have to watch it, just come back 6 months time, your money's there, or a year or whatever. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I've noticed there are a number of projects doing that, and it's really taken off, and it's a shame, but it's also beautiful for a lot of people to see how many people don't see where this is going over to 22 and 2023. I
think even
really
further out.
Kick off in this industry. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, it's just gonna going to get insane.
I think so. Like Nick said it well earlier on. He said, look, over the next 10 years, 1 billion people are going to walk through the door.
Yeah,
you know?
literally.
So, and it was so early still. So I think, you know, it's tough because we're in a position, and I say it's tough, that's the wrong word, but you know, we're ahead of the curve in the technology we're building here. We've got.
Well, it's easy to feel behind when you enter the
Correct.
space, also. But then also you've got to realise how many people don't really know what Bitcoin is.
You're early.
You know,
you're you'll be able to tell these stories to your grandkids. You know, like this is what happened. This is the madness we were doing on Discord.
The day I woke up and realised everyone was an idiot. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. It starts with that, and it starts with waking up into the monetary system, and like you know, you go down these rabbit holes. You're like, wow, I've been living a life like forever.
Really. This wealth shift needs to happen, and it's just so beautiful to watch in a non-violent, you know, it's just there's so much being played out and so much happening at the moment that's never happened before. It's such an interesting time to live, and it will be biblical. It will be things to talk about in times to come. And the very fact that people have this opportunity now to empower themselves in a society that constantly pities them, you know, that's amazing. And it'll be so interesting to see where the hive mind goes with different things. And it's all going to start with projects like this. It's all starting with projects like this. I wish you guys the best of luck. I'm looking forward to getting involved.
Yeah, do man, do like just come and hang out on Discord with us. Like that's where this is our home.
I will. Thank you for making me so welcome.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. So let me give you the last 2 dApps, and you can find me some more questions. So we've got 2 more dApps, and they're very closely related, but they are different. So we've got something called auction.vote, which is our ability to do a NFT fair launch. What does that mean? That means no more pump and dumps with NFT sales. That means no one person like a Pranksy can suddenly, you know, get all 300 stoner cats or whatever NFTs he's collecting. That means that the average person is actually, it's a fair playing ground. You know, everybody gets the opportunity to buy us the product, because
it's not so easy to monopolize.
It's impossible. And the reason for that is we've got 2 mechanisms that work at the same time. So you've got like a regressive algorithm and a progressive algorithm. So when someone buys an NFT on our fair launch platform, it doubles the price of the token of the NFT, right? So the next one that comes up for sale would be double the price. Why does it do that? Because what it's trying to do is figure out what's the most that someone's willing to pay. And once it's doubled in price and no one's bought anything, each block that goes past, it decreases in cost. And then it finds out what actually is someone willing to pay for this product. So it doesn't always have to double it. It could just go up by 10%, or it could go up by 5%, or it could go up by 8%. But it goes up.
A lot of it's all based around perceived value, isn't it?
Right. So it goes up in value. And then over time, if someone doesn't buy it at that value for like a block, it then decreases, and that might go down by say 0.5%. And each time each block goes down, it goes down by 0.5%, because there will be someone out there who goes, "That's the price I'm willing to pay." Then they'll pay for that product. Then it will go up again, and then it will decrease. So it's a really, really clever way of figuring out what's the bottom of the market, what's the bottom price that someone's willing to pay, and what's the top price that someone's willing to pay. And that way, you know,
golden information in the industry.
Yeah, well, it's everything, right? And it also means that, you know, you, as a whale, if you want to come in and do whale stuff, go nuts. But ultimately, each time you buy it, it's going to just go up, and it's going to double up again. So everyone will reach a point where they're like, well, but now I've made that so high, I can't afford to buy that myself anymore, so now I have to wait. But it doesn't mean that somebody else out there isn't willing to pay the price, maybe 10% lower, whereas you need to wait for 15% as well. So there's a lot of game theoretic mechanics built into all of this stuff. And we can do token launches through that as well. So that's how we figure out the price of a token, the ceiling, and the price of the token at the bottom as well. So that's auction.vote, and then you've got mint.vote. Mint.vote, we're going to do a test tonight. If you're whitelisted for Shibuku, you can come and join in the test, and you'll see it.
I'm whitelisted. I've got I earned myself 3 roles.
Cool.
Yeah,
well, if you stay tuned on this server, and go to the test launch.
Test launch.
Go keep an eye on the test launch server, and there will come a timeout tonight, and you'll be able to go through and use mint.vote, and it will explain it to yourself. You'll see exactly how that works, and that is the ability to. So what it does is, what happens to a lot of NFT launches is you go, right, I'm going to mint this token, mint this NFT, and then you pay an absolute ton of gas, and then you don't get the NFT because somebody else is willing to pay more gas than you. What this does is you go, right, I'm going to mint this token, and so it will go token number 6.
Thing, yeah.
Right. It will give you the amber light saying somebody else has already tried to buy this.
Yeah, fantastic idea, yeah.
If you want to try and outbid them, good luck, but you may lose a load of gas if you do, basically. And then the red one means it's gone. But green means it's completely available, you can press mint, and you know you're going to get that NFT. And it's also got this really cool unboxing feature. So the NFT is immediately revealed, whereas with a lot of NFT, I think all NFT projects, I'm just going to say a lot, let's say 95.
This is my first NFT project I've sort of dived into, by the way.
Okay, cool.
Pretty proud I've come this far.
So take a look at that, and you need to get yourself on the Rinkeby testnet, and if you look up in test launch to last Friday, there's links to filling up your wallet with ETH from Rinkeby, because you'll need some...
How's that spelled, sorry?
Rinkeby, RINEKBY. You'll see there's a chain link and there's an A16Z link at the top there. Yeah, take a look at that. Fill your wallet up. It will tell you how to do that. You need to switch to the testnet in your MetaMask wallet. I assume you're using MetaMask. Switch to the Rinkeby testnet. You can fill yourself up with some Chainlink and some ETH, and then you'll be able to take part in the testnet.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So that will take a look at that. You'll see what mint.vote does. So that's super cool as well. So these are the dApps we're building, and why are we building these dApps? Because we basically want to be the DAO that creates DAOs, and the DAOs that allows DAOs to govern themselves. So Nick's goal is 1,000 DAOs a day. And what we want to do here, what we want to do here is we want to build the leadership capacities as well as the tools to do that. So we want to make people DAO leaders so they can go off and do that for other DAOs, build their own DAOs, work with us, help us because we're going to incubate so many more projects. Shibaku is just the first. We've got.
I was going to suggest actually
big word list.
It would be worth. If you haven't already, and I haven't noticed, if you have already and I haven't noticed it, so I apologise, but it'll be worth having a section that's sort of introductory to people that don't understand or know what a DAO is. I mean, there's still a lot I'm very unfamiliar with, and it'd be nice to just sort of click a bit and then sort of just read away and be like, oh cool, that's how it works, that's what they're doing.
The best place to go for that is the resources channel at the top.
Okay.
Now, to be fair, this is something we've been talking about a lot today as well, and we've been talking about for a while. So we're going to do a lot of this sort of redesign of the Discord, and creation of content and things like that. So yeah, 100%. We hear that, we agree. We need people like you to help us with that. Right.
Absolutely. So, I'm here to offer whatever I can.
Yeah, and there's basically we've got this other thing as well, like a task board. So people, there's just basically anybody can do anything they want to contribute to the DAO. We just have to make sure like we're all working like together, and that we all kind of like have do you know what I mean, like a direction. But we're going to build that direction, and then we're going to basically enable everyone in the DAO to contribute. And the thing is, what we're doing is every quarter we're doing an airdrop through bank.vote. So anyone that's involved in the DAO will receive some of this airdrop. And the goal is basically, we've got that plan for the next 7 years. There's an airdrop each quarter, and we just aim to keep recapitalizing the treasury. So that way we can roll that infinitely, and the goal is we want to have 1,000 people working here, 10,000 people working here. We want this to be, a place where anyone can come and contribute, get rewarded, and make it happen.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
You're in finance 2.0, but then better.
Yeah, right. Web 4.
Yeah, Web 4.
It seems like I've landed in the right space to be in for the future.
Yeah, just come and hang out with us,
Yeah.
dude. Just like jump
I will.
in.
I'm eager to learn. I've got a few things that I think would be wonderful in the space. But obviously I don't possess the
Yeah, but
skills
no one
to bring
does.
the ideas to fruition, and you guys do.
Well, Nick does.
I actually disagree with both of you. I think that you do have all the tools that you have at hand. You have a community, and they are here. You know,
And they're strong. I
don't
think what the company
underestimate
are offering is
yourself.
brilliant. No, yeah, thank you. No, thank you. That's great to hear. They're, it's such a moldable space at the moment in general, especially with this sort of metaverse NFT combination happening.
100%. Everything's up for
Yeah,
definition right now. No, like
yeah, absolutely.
we spent like 3 hours the other
What a
day.
great way of putting it. Everything's up for definition.
Oh, it is. We spent 3 hours talking about the definition of a DAO. Like it seems so obvious, decentralized autonomous organization. But then as soon as you start to just define what decentralized is, you're like, wow, no one really knows.
How do you title something to baffle your mates and get them to stop digging at your brain?
Yeah, but it's good though. When people keep asking questions and you can't really define it that well, that means the definition is up for grabs, and that's where we're at.
Sure.
And the web's up for grabs, the monetary system's up for grabs, supply chains are up for grabs. You know, the web is up for grabs. Everything we can. This is the beginning of a revolution.
It's taking ownership of the internet, isn't it? As opposed to because everything has been centralized. Everything has, YouTube can censor what they like. They can just delete you. You know, if you actually own that section of the internet, and if you actually own what you're doing, and it's brilliant. It's just blockchain technology is literally changing the world.